The camera's a little high. It's a little high. There you go.
Are we ready? Yes, we are. Okay. Perfect. Are we up? All right. Well, can everybody hear me? That's a really important question to ask.
After all the stuff that's been happening, holy smell what's going on.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
You can? Okay.
No, but not through a speaker.
Not through the speaker? Maybe I need to hold the microphone. Let's see if that
The
helps.
microphone works.
I don't
I don't
know.
think that microphone works very well.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Less.
Even less.
So that
Okay,
microphone
how's
doesn't
this?
work.
Nope.
That's the one to count on, but it's.
Is it on?
Is the microphone on, David?
Maybe that.
Let's try it again.
It's got power.
Has it got a little bit energy going through it now? How's this? No?
Oh, if you swallow it.
No, it doesn't. I can grab the other one over there if need be. Okay, you can hear that. How's that? Can you hear me a little bit? Well,
Yeah. No, I think that microphone.
how's this?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's great, David. They can hear me now.
Much better.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity at the Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. As everybody knows, Reverend Jan is on vacation right now, a very well-deserved vacation. What kind of a vacation? Does that sound okay now?
Yeah, when you.
Okay, so I got to hold this a specific way. So most of us know online in here, but just in case anybody's new today, we've moved. We sold our church in Pomona. Now we are meeting in the Claremont Center for Spiritual Living in Claremont, of course, and this is just a lovely place. So just to let you know that. So, I'm going to go back again. So before we start with this song, let's just center ourselves right now in prayer. Feel ourselves grounded in our seats and be aware of the spiritual presence in yourself. Noting your pulse if you can feel it, the weight of your body in the chair, knowing that all of these things that you feel would not be here if there weren't spirit. If spirit were not prevalent. We are in perfect harmony with this source that is called God, Spirit, all of life. We are all a part of this picture. Every experience we have is a reflection of that. We are synergistically moving with this energy that is God, and we are all sacred manifestations of that. And when you think about that, really think about it, that's just a remarkable thing. So we acknowledge that everybody present in this room, and me standing up here, we are all reflections of Spirit having an experience right now. And we're grateful to remember that, grateful to remind ourselves of that right now during this time. Knowing that this understanding, as we hold on to it, we now release it into the understanding of the world, knowing that it is real, that it is right. And so it is. So it is. So I'm going to lead a song called Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed, which I absolutely love. And prior to coming here, I had never heard this song before, and I just learned it this month and have been playing it each Sunday and just love it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let go of this microphone right here, and I'm going to go to the keyboard, and David's going to come up here, and he's going to keep the words going while I'm playing. All right, there we go. Spirit-led, Spirit-fed,
I am made complete in the divine. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Pray that we in every day. Like a beautiful song. As I'm choosing my way, there's a voice inside to guide me along. I am spirit-led, spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Such a good reminder. So, I think the next part that we're going to come to here is a prayer that we cannot, it's timeless, I would say. It's an understanding that Jesus taught his disciples that is a consciousness that we can all understand if we really embrace it, and that is, there is a force that he was so intimately close to that he called it Father. A force that's in this universe that is looking after us at all times and providing for us. So I love to do this prayer and really think of it that way, that Jesus is trying to show people we are always connected to this, and it is always providing for you, it's always there for you. And you can, I forgot to turn that on, I apologize. But you can join me at any time. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Timeless words of wisdom, as I call it. I'm toggling today for those who just came in, because Reverend Dan is gone this week and sitting back this week. We're covering for her. All right.
So we are a little community that has a lot going on. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. What's really neat about this community, which is what drew me to it from the beginning, is how we have a meal after every service. So we essentially are breaking bread together. We have a person who brings, generally it's Jennifer, she brings a full meal. She brings salad and main dish, dessert, and we all just sit and we talk together, and share a lot of deep spiritual thoughts a lot of times. It's quite special. And as I mentioned earlier, Reverend Jan's not here. She's at the Unity Convention in Kansas City. She left June 9th, and she'll be back next week. So there's not going to be a Monday book study for those of you who go there, whether in person or by Zoom. She won't be having that, and the Wednesday meditation won't be happening either because she'll be away. However, there will be Sunday services, as you know, in the lunch today, so we're doing that. We've got a team of people, Jackie Morrison and me, and Jennifer, who makes the meals, Nancy, who's often here, and Reverend Marianne Cordova Breen, who's speaking today. We're all holding the fort while she's gone. Next book study, so you know, is going to be June 30th. So make a note of that. It's from 7 to 8 if you're interested in going. Right now, what they're studying is a book called Ishmael, a novel. And it's supposedly very good. So if you've been doing this, it starts on the 30th again. And next meditation is July 2nd. It's by Zoom, and it's at 6:30 in the evening if you're interested in participating in that. People say it's really good. Now this is really neat. I'm definitely going to be going to this one. We have a gentleman here who's on the board. His name is Philip Santino, and he works with people who have been in prison after they've gotten out and they're getting their lives together. He does a lot of stuff with them, and he's going to be doing a fundraiser to support people who were subjected to Altadena fire difficulties, to say the very least. And it's going to be June 28th and 27th from 4 to 9 on Friday the 27th and from 1 to 7 on the 28th, Saturday. The group that he works with is called Forward Progress, and they're going to have artwork of a lot of these people who've gotten out of prison, and they're going to be doing a fundraiser selling that, auctioning it. So please, if you can make it, come. It's bound to be a really neat experience. It's going to be held right next door in the Holmes Hall. Worth it. Definitely worth it. And this is another save the date for those of you who are active in this community and want to do it. Sunday, July 13th from 2:45 to 3:45, we're going to have a planning session to talk about what our future is going to be here and what we want to focus on as this community continues to grow. We're calling it a SWOT instead of a SWOT because it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges as opposed to threats. We're looking at the challenges. So please join us, and there will be a listening circle. Also, as most of us know here, Reverend Jan is very involved in Compassionate Pomona, and the next meeting is going to be on Thursday, July 3rd at 10 in the morning. If you want to join by Zoom, that's the link. If you want that information after the service or want to take a picture of it, we can pull this back up on the screen later. So now we're at the point where we take our donations. We've got a basket up in the front if somebody would like to pass that around. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's for donations. And for those who want to or don't have a checkbook and like to send it in the mail, we actually do snail mail around here. So there's an address up there too that you can send checks to if you want to. And in your bulletins, if you have one, there is, just looking to see if I can show it on mine. You can see it on here, the little square right there, if you want to use your phone to donate that way too, which I think is really great because that's how I tend to do it. So everybody repeat after me, or read along with me even better. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all I am, all I give, all I do, and all that I receive. And I like to say this at another church, we say, I am prosperous now. I like that. And we are. So please, Jackie, if you would come up, now is the time for the daily word. This is a timeless tradition that we do here. And Jackie,
100 years old.
it's 100 years old. Yeah, it just turned 100 this past year, didn't it? Yeah, it
Isn't that
did.
amazing?
I think it is pretty amazing. Some things just are meant to keep going.
I project pretty good. I don't know if I need that or not.
Okay, well, here, I'll just put this here for now.
All right.
And if can everybody hear her okay?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, that's great.
Which way are you going?
Oh, I can just stand here and I'm okay
Oh,
with
all
that. I
right.
don't mind that at all.
The word for today is guidance. With an open heart and mind, I heed divine guidance. If I am feeling lost or do not know which way to turn, I take comfort in knowing I can pray and bring my awareness to my connection with God. Wherever I am on my spiritual journey, I receive divine guidance continually, and it is up to me to heed it. Divine guidance does me little good if I doubt it or feel too hesitant to act upon it. I commit to remaining open and receptive as I receive my guidance. Even if the call of my heart surprises me, even if I doubt I can do what I am being called to do, I trust the still, small voice within. I affirm, I am divinely guided and faith-filled. And from the Bible, Isaiah 58:11, the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your needs in parched places and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters never fail.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Boy, some readings really strike me more. That one really, that was nice. Thank you so much. This next song that I'm going to do, please do join us singing this if you know this. It's called Weave. I just love this song. I remember this one. Let's get that to the right spot there. There we go. And David, if you don't mind coming up here and keeping the words going. I remember when I first learned this one. It was at a church called Abundant Life Center in Vancouver, Washington. We're a small community like this. And I loved it because as a smaller community, we were so tightly woven together, kind of like this one. It really felt like family. It's a sweet song. I'm just going to stop right here. You can join me. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together and love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other. But we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melodies, each one tuning to one different beat. But we are all playing in harmony, in one great symphony. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love.
positive memories of it, you know?
Thank you, David. I appreciate your help on that. We wouldn't be able to do what we do up here without David, and I kid you not. He's like he's the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, but he does great things. Like the Wiz. So, I'm really excited to hear this talk today. We've got Reverend Mary Cordova Breen, who's the Associate Minister with Claremont Center for Living here, who's going to speak today. She's going to talk about the gifts of synergy. This month, and actually the last month, we've been focusing on the gifts that we each bring to this world individually and collectively as a community, and how diverse those are. So I'm really looking forward to what you have to say today. Mary, please come on up. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we need to, yeah, thank you so much, David.
Want me to set it? Sure. Move it over.
I'm afraid I will mess this up.
Now you have no choice but to pay attention to the man who was behind the curtain, because
There
he's
we
not
go.
behind it.
There we are.
So grateful for you, David. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Sure. Okay, well, I'll just sort of speak up because hopefully you can hear me and finding a right spot so you can see our screen as well.
Because if you can't, I'll grab that other microphone after.
Can you hear me? Everybody? Okay, so I can project. So, Reverend Jan asked me to speak about synergy. Synergy being the composite of all the other virtues and qualities that she's been having people speak about over the last couple months. It's funny because synergy, let's see how this, oh, there we go. Synergy is actually the same thing as unity, which is the same thing as inclusion, which is that principle of oneness. And the thing is, we talk about unity in songs and things like that a lot, but we talk about them so much that I think sometimes it becomes just a word. We think that, if we just show up, we're in unity. But it's a lot more than just showing up, and we're going to talk about that today. What synergy really means is working together. It comes from a Greek word that means working together. Synergy is everywhere. Spirit, God, is synergistic, and that's why the smallest atom and the largest universe and beyond the universe operates with synergy. The electrons in the atom go around in a certain sort of way. And the electrons and the neutrons, they have to participate. Yeah, it looks like we're getting bigger than we need here. Thank you, Drak. And the same in the universe. The universe is just, everything's operating together. Because natural law and spiritual law are one and the same. You won't find that natural law in any way conflicts with spiritual law, because it's all a divine order. Because natural law was created out of spiritual law. So there is a divine order to it no matter what. Whether our bodies, anything else, it's all the same. So if we look at it, in nature, there is synergy. The smallest atom, the biggest universe. And if we look at it mentally, we often put our thoughts together, and they say, let's put our heads together. We often hear that expression. So we can get together in unison on a mental level. We can get it together with ourselves on a heart-to-head level. You know, sometimes we're not in sync. Our heart wants one thing and our head says another thing. But when we have a synergy within ourselves, our heart and our head become in alignment with each other. And when we're spiritually aligned, all of us, all those chakras, all parts of our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body, our soul, our essence, our wisdom, are all in alignment. What happens when that comes together? In nature, when we get all those colors together, there's a symbiotic relationship where they, more than one, in that rainbow there's a red, there's a blue, there's yellows, there's green. And red, blue, yellow, green, you know, aren't nearly as beautiful as when you put them all together. It's magical. That rainbow is magical when you put all of the colors together. The rainforest, again, in nature, every little thing in that rainforest depends on everything else. If you were to remove all those nasty little bugs, you know, flying around, the rainforest wouldn't be the same. You know, the plants wouldn't get fed with what they need to do. Other animals wouldn't have what they needed to feast on. Whether you're removing a pesky little bug or what you might call a predator, it would change the whole environment. So nature understands itself, that it is working in a synergistic way, in a symbiotic way. And in business, you know, it's funny because business got this idea of synergy, of collaboration, way sooner than any church did. It's interesting. So why did they do it, you know? And if you look further, you know, way back decades ago, there were books like Positively Outrageous Service and Love is the Killer App. And those books are decades old, decades. And business got this. And they also started incorporating DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion. Now, yeah, equity, they're still struggling with a little bit, but they got the diversity and inclusion. Well, because why? Because the goal of business is what? To make money, to be successful, to make money. Okay, they're clear, right? They don't make any bones about it. They're honest about it. That's the point. But they realized why this happened is because they realized that there is a natural law that is a human law, that is a spiritual law, that when you have diversity, things just turn out better. When there's inclusion of people of different types and different sorts, people just turn out better. The reason they didn't get the equity is because they could get diversity and inclusion for a long time without the equity. They're learning now that it's getting a little tougher because more of us are getting more integrated within ourselves. So the businesses, what they did is they looked at studies. You know, there was a study done in 2006 by Margaret Neal of Stanford University and a couple other people of a few different universities. And what they did is they set out to examine the impact of racial diversity on small decision-making groups in an experiment where sharing information was required for success. Our subjects were undergraduate students taking business courses at the University of Illinois. We put together 3-person groups, some consisting of all white members and others with 2 whites and 1 non-white, and had them perform murder mystery exercises. We made sure that all the groups shared a common set of information, but also gave each member important clues that only he or she knew. To find out who committed the murder, the group members would have to share all the information they collectively possessed during discussion. Turns out, the groups with racial diversity significantly outperform the groups with no diversity. Being with similar others lead us to think we all hold the same information and share the same perspective. This perspective, which stopped the all-white groups from effectively processing the information, is what hinders our creativity and inventions by us. Other researchers found similar results. In 2004, there was a study done at Stanford with 5 colleagues from the University at UCLA also and other institutions. More than 350 students from the universities participated in the studies. The group members were asked to discuss prevailing social issues, either child labor practices or the death penalty, for 15 minutes. The researchers wrote dissenting opinions and had both black and white members deliver them to their groups. When a black person presented a dissenting perspective to a group of whites, the perspective was perceived as more novel and led to a broader thinking and consideration of alternatives than when a white person introduced that same subject to a group of white people. The lesson, when we hear dissent from someone else who is different from us, it provokes more thought than when it comes from someone who looks just like us. Who would have thought? This impact is not limited to gender. When the murder mystery study was done with Republicans and Democrats, we got the same kind of results as we did with the other group. So when diverse groups come together, they change their behavior, they change their expectations of agreement. So they become more open. Their behavior is more open and also more self-aware. So what does this mean to you and me? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So let's talk about synergistic relationships first. A synergistic relationship, going back a little bit here, this is the inclusion part of businesses, okay? This is the idea of when people come together, that's the inclusion part. Unity means we all come together. Inclusion is when everybody has a voice at the table, not just a chair. They tried it with the chair, it didn't work. They had to have the voice. Okay, on relationship synergy. Here we have a group of people that are just dancing. Everybody's having fun. And it's fun to go out there and do that, right? To get out there and dance and hear the music and everything's going great. And it's kind of fun and you get the music. But when you get dancers who are in sync with each other, there's a beauty that way outperforms the getting out there and having just some fun. When you have that duo where they're perfectly in sync and dancing with each other, I don't know if you've watched much ballet, but it becomes so beautiful. I think one of the most beautiful things that I have ever seen that brought me to tears, not much brings me to tears, but this was so beautiful, was an elderly couple doing a free dance together to Pachelbel. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. And they were so connected in their hearts and their minds that it was seamless. It was not a practiced dance. It was just a dance of synchronicity. Absolutely beautiful. So we talk about collaboration, we talk about nature, but when it comes to kind of anything in life, you know, a car, you know, if a car is designed, you need an engineer, you need a mechanic, you need a designer, you need an electrician, you need a whole group of people to make this thing work. And if one of them is having a bad day, that car becomes a lemon. Right? Same thing in technology. When you have, a computer program. It's not just the programmer that creates that program. It's hardware, it's firmware, it's software. It's, making sure that, everything is even welded correctly, on your motherboards. My son is in technology, and they just love him at his work because he's got a little bit of mechanical in him. He's got some electrical in him. He's able to inherit from his dad the mechanical part of it, and from his grandpa the electrical part. So he does firmware, software, and if the machine falls off on the transport across the country, he can see if it has a loose screw. So, but it takes all of those aspects in order to make those things work. So if we looked at the dads, and again, the spiritual synergy is a complete perfection. We often say, I am whole, perfect, and complete. And I used to wonder about that. We go around saying that, particularly in Science of Mind, I am whole, perfect, and complete. And I didn't feel very whole, perfect, and complete. And as I looked around the world, I'm going, I don't think any of us are whole, perfect, and complete. What in the world are we saying here? Well, what that really means, when I say I am whole, perfect, and complete, it means I am in alignment with myself. My heart, my head, my body are all in alignment, and I can honor and respect that because I have an understanding. If my foot hurts, I don't ignore it. I stop and I go, what's the matter with my foot? And my heart and my head do what they can to take care of that foot, right? If my heart's hurting and I'm in alignment, my head stops and pauses and turns to my heart and says, how can I help? What can I do? That's called being in alignment. To be in that alignment, we have to understand all of those parts of ourselves. We have to understand and know, take time to listen, and know what our heart is trying to tell us. Louise Hayes even says, okay, if you've got shoulder pain, you need to ask those shoulders, what's going on? What do you need from me? So being in alignment with ourselves is where we need to begin. Being synergistic with ourselves is where we begin. It's from within out. We cannot do anything out there without that. So, let's see. So we're releasing. When we get to that point, when you feel confident, when you know where your heart's at, where your head's at, where your beliefs are at. So it's also aligning, we also got that crown chakra in there, where our principles are, right? So we're not just aligning our bodies with our heart and our intellectual minds. We're also aligning with our principles. Because if we're not behaving according to our principles, we're just not going to feel right. We're going to do things that we ask ourselves, why did I do that? I feel yucky about that. But if all of us are in alignment with those principles, then we can stand firmly in who we are. Then we can walk into a crowd of people who have a political ideology completely opposite and allow them to speak their mind and not feel attacked. Not feel any self-doubt. Not feeling that we have to defend ourselves because we're firmly in alignment. We're already okay with ourselves. It's only when that self-doubt is there that somebody can knock us off center. So that's why we align ourselves to do that. So in Character Champions, we have this thing called VIBE. Okay? And what VIBE stands for is I am valuable, I'm important, I'm beloved, and I am empowered. And I was born that way, so no one can take it away. That's how the divine has created us. That is the truth about each and every one of us, is we are each valuable, important, beloved, and empowered. Now, when we feel that, we are ready to honor and respect others. We're ready to take some time and listen because we're in the vine, right? We know that each of us is a divine, unique creation. And as Stephen Butterworth would say, while each of us is a divine, unique creation, we are each a part of the divine universe. Each and every one of us. So we all belong to one body. That other person, might be that shoulder ache in you, or that cramped knee, but they're still part of the same body. They're still part of the one. So why has business and not churches really got the idea of this need for synergy, this need for inclusion? Well, business, as we were saying earlier, they're honest about it. This is a game we're playing. We all know we're playing in this game. We all know what each other's goals are. And so they just do what they need to do. They learn the rules and they play the game. They learn the rules. Now the thing is, when we come to family and church, we don't want to play by the rules. We just want to be supported in our unique, quirky, changing kind of self. So we seek out that which is exactly like ourselves. We seek out that which believes exactly what we believe. And we shield ourselves from anything else. Because deep inside, we haven't gone to that synergy within. And so we're trying to falsely create this synergy on the outside, which is false because all we're doing is sitting in something that's exactly one color, one ideology, rather than keeping our minds open to change. So why do we do this? Why? Because we don't want this change. And maybe it's because we're a little scared, a little lazy, about opening up. But I think it's really a lot about being vulnerable. It's a lot about being scared. It's a lot about that challenge, being afraid of rejection, having that self-doubt. And when we have that fear of rejection, it's because we already are on the bridge, on that wall, or on that fence of rejecting ourselves. We're already a little bit in that self-doubt about, well, maybe I don't have all the facts, or maybe they're smarter than me, or maybe they'll say something that I don't know about, that I can't counter, or maybe. The what ifs, rather than being present in the moment and honoring who you are in this moment, in this perfect, whole, and complete state that you are truly in. At any moment in our lives, we can be perfect, whole, and complete and still and still be growing. There is nothing static. Saying that God is all there is doesn't mean there isn't. It's ever evolving. The potentiality is there, but it's ever evolving and manifesting. We ask ourselves when somebody challenges us or says, hey, go hang out with somebody who believes completely different from you. Go hang out with, what I'm talking about, everybody. So, and it depends on the community that I'm talking to, but go hang out with somebody. It's amazing what you'll learn, but it's, I've stood up here before and said, let's do that. Let's go sit at lunch with somebody different, and somebody will come up and say, yeah, I kind of should, but I'm not going to. Because I'm comfortable. Well, you know what? We don't grow in comfort. The little kids get leg aches at night because they're growing. If we stay comfortable, we don't grow. We grow on that edge, on that fence, where we stretch a little and stretch a little. When you do your stretches, there's no point in doing a stretch if you're not stretching a little bit more, right? So we know that God is all there is. And we see it in nature, yet we still doubt. We doubt ourselves. But if we know that there's one body and there's one that's perfect, and all these aches and pains are just part of the growing, and that we can't remove them, just like we can't remove the bugs in the rainforest and expect it to grow and thrive. Our pains help us to grow. That annoying brother-in-law, or whoever it is, helps us to grow. Those little bit of uncomfortable situations help us to grow, to rise above. If we can remember that our source is spirit, our power is spirit, our light is spirit, all of our protection comes from within. It's spirit. It's not going to come from out there. Because if we expect someone out there to be protecting us all the time, we'll get even more hurt. Because they can't. They can't. No one out there can fix your hurts. You can't fix theirs. Have you ever tried that, fixing somebody else? Yeah. Doesn't work, does it? No. Everybody's got to go through their own stuff. And it's really hard as a parent because you really want to fix that. You really want to do that. But everybody has to find that synchronicity, that synergy within themselves. And they have to do the work within themselves. And there will be struggles, there will be pains. But it's not that God protects us from every challenge. It's that God gives us whatever we need to meet every challenge. We have all that within us. The chain is only as strong as the weakest link. When I think of our country, this world that we're living in, the chain is only as strong as the weakest link. And we can point fingers and say, okay, there's the weakest link. There's the weakest link. But in truth, we don't really know that. We don't really know where it is. If you were to take, and I almost did that for today, if you would take some construction paper and make a chain, and try to make everyone perfect, and then start hanging things on that chain, you really don't know which one is going to break until it does. And from day to day, it could be a different link that does. A different link that is weaker. One day it could be you. Another day it can be somebody else. It could be one group of people in this world of ours. And the next day different. And which one will break, we don't know. But we do know that we can only rise together. We can only rise together. So, what do we do with all of this? Oops. So, here's some tips of what we can do with what I've been talking about today. So the first thing we can do is we can lead with authenticity. When we lead with authenticity, we have a light within us. And we give other people that permission to shine their lights. If you make a mistake, all it really does is give the next person permission to make a mistake. Have you ever noticed that? How much more relaxed you feel when someone else makes a mistake? So, go around and make a bunch of mistakes so everybody feels comfortable. Okay? Listen with curiosity. So often when we hear somebody say something that we don't want to hear, we move immediately into judgment. Well, I don't think that's true. Well, da-da-da-da-da-da. And we make up all kinds of stories. And we automatically, when we start doing that in our own head, we don't leave any room to really hear what the person had to say. You know, it's like reading the first sentence of a paragraph and then skipping to the next one. We don't get to hear the explanation. We don't get to hear the heart behind it. We don't get to hear anything behind that and get to really know that person. So if we listen with curiosity, it helps us to be open and hear more and learn more without shutting down. We can honor the differences. There's a book about purple people. I don't know, it's a kid's book. I don't know if any of you have seen it. And this little guy lives on, he lives in a planet with a mix of colors. And he goes, I don't like the reds. I don't like the greens. I'm purple. I want to go to where everybody is purple. So he gets transported to a purple planet. And pretty soon gets really bored. So we need that mix. And we need to honor the differences, because when we don't honor the differences, people feel like they have to pretend, and we never get to know them. We never get those new ideas. We never get the new feelings. We never get that wonder in life. And that's one's hard to read, but that says to embrace the different partners. When you go to do a project, I encourage you, find as many people who are different from you as you can, who have as many different opinions about everything as you can. The greatest project I think I was ever on was a fundraiser that we did, a garden party in my backyard. And there were 12 of us on the committee, 12 people on a committee. It's, that's a lot of people trying to decide something. And I felt my only job was that everything that somebody said, we incorporated it in some way, shape, or form. And it was amazing. We made $8,000 in one evening. So it was great. And that was because it was diversity, and again, people didn't come to the table. We didn't have 12 people sitting there in silence and agreeing with each other. They all had ideas, and everyone got included, which created more ideas. So let's see. So in doing that, you go, well, okay, how do I get the strength to do that? Well, you need to have a little bit of spiritual care for yourselves. Again, it's from the inside out. So the first thing we want to do is do some prayer and meditation to just align ourselves. I do a meditation where I just lay on the floor and align all my chakras. And one by one, I clean out the gunk and let Spirit send in the light, just to align that. And then we meditate on whatever else it is in our body. I'm sure you've done meditations where you get grounded and you feel the muscles in your body and you relax the muscles in your body. And your hip goes, I am relaxing. I hurt. Get out of this chair. I need to stand up. We listen. Listen to our bodies in the meditation. And listen to our hearts. Join a prayer circle. You know, the thing about a prayer circle, excuse me, is that you get to let go. Because if you're truly in prayer, you're not begging for something to happen. You're not asking other people to make it happen for you. You're putting your word out there and you're letting God take care of it. And at the end, you let go and you let God. It's not a group therapy session. It's a God session. And that is what our prayer is for. Right? It's for us to get in alignment with Spirit. There's no other reason for prayer rather than to get in alignment with Spirit. Create an affirmation to be open. I have a couple here for you. Let's see. That might work. Let's see. I think I put them in here. Maybe I didn't. So if we create an affirmation, I didn't put them in my outline. So you create an affirmation, for yourself. It could be God is my source. Or if you're meeting with somebody else, is we meet together, we rise together, we evolve together. You have a tough meeting coming up with somebody who it could be confrontational. Before you walk into that meeting, we meet together, we rise together, we evolve together. That takes care of you, and it settles you before you have that outer. So we center ourselves, we create synergy within ourselves, we create purpose within ourselves, and then we meet with each other who are doing the same thing. So I'd like to take, let's see, one more. And that, I'd like to conclude, David, with a song that I think David can pull up. Right. Put that in there.
Together we rise with hearts open wide, embracing our journeys with love as our guide. In every heart, a story shines bright. We'll lift each other together ignite. Can't tell how we'll face the storm. One with kindness will transform. Through every trial, we'll rise above. This is our journey, learning through love. Felt the weight of the night, but in the darkest moments we'll find our inner light. With every shared smile, every tear that we shed, we're weaving a tapestry of hope that lies ahead. In every lesson we find our key. Through every moment we choose to see. For in our soulmates, truth shines through. There's beauty in the struggle and strength in the end. Together we rise with hearts open wide, embracing our journeys with love as our guide. In every heart, a story shines bright. We'll lift each other together ignite. We can't tell how we'll face the storm. One of kindness will transform. Through every trial, we'll rise above. This is our journey, learning through love. No more barriers, no more divides. We'll walk hand in hand with faith as our guide. With every step, we grow as one. United in purpose, our work's never done. Together we rise with hearts open wide, embracing our journeys with love as our guide. In every heart, a story shines bright. We'll lift each other together ignite. We can't tell how we'll face the storm. Warmth of kindness will transform. Through every trial, we'll rise above. This is our journey, learning through love. Yes, together we rise in this journey of love.
So let's take this into a prayer. We know that divine love, divine law are one and the same. That there is a divine order. That there is a divine synchronicity and synergy that runs through our bodies, our hearts, our minds, our souls. We are one with ourselves. We are one with the universe. We are one with spirit. And so we take this moment to affirm, I honor myself. I honor my body. I honor my heart. I honor my mind, and I honor my principles. I allow each of them to speak, to be heard, to be respected. And knowing this for myself, I stand firmly in who I am, a unique divine expression, and that allows me to allow you to be the same, and to honor and embrace every part of you, to embrace our differences, to honor them, to exalt them, to learn from them, and to grow. I am grateful for this wisdom because I know we rise together, individually and in unison. In spirit, we are one. And so with peace and gratitude, we accept this truth for ourselves and each other. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. That was absolutely. If we could give her a little hand. Yes, please do. That was wonderful.
Should have you more of.
Right. You want me to switch over to the...
For the prayer of protection and the closing song. Yeah. There it is. Thank you so much. There we go. Thank you so much. He makes it all look very quick and very easy. So everybody, please pray with me the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So if you could just join me in the peace song as we close, and then join me in the room for a meal afterwards. Right in the back of the church to the left, there's an office area where we have our meals. So please join me in this. This is another song that has so many memories for me. I used to go to a church called Living Enrichment Center in Wilsonville, Oregon, and we did this after every single service. It was very fun renovating. Everybody for joining us today. It's really nice.
Yes.
Please join us for a meal in the back if you have time. Stand for Holy Spring 16.